Heads up, it's the Roll Jays podcast, the voice of the Creighton basketball fan. With your hosts, Jimmie Allen, Alex Drake, and Casey Matthews. Join the crew and meet CU players, coaches, and a whole lot more. Now, the Roll Jays podcast. Here's Jimmie Allen.
Welcome into the Roll Jays podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing, Pyramid Contractors, and Pepper Jack's Grill. Jimmie Allen and Casey Matthews with you here today. No Alex Drake, he's on vacation. We decided to give him a day off during basketball season. It looks like Creighton's defense is taking a little bit of a vacation today as well, Casey. 42-27 in Cincinnati right now, and the Jays struggling mightily on both sides of the ball. We talked about this with Steve Murfeld after the previous game, and he mentioned, you brought it up, Cincinnati's a tough place for the Jays to play. It's a tough place to go on the road and get a win. And right now, Creighton's offense is stuck in neutral.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Creighton, it's, one, you've got 6 turnovers, which is a problem. Some of those have been, in my opinion, you're coming off ball screens, you're looking for Kalkbrenner, and they're just doing a really good job tagging and holding him. And so you've got to adjust. Xavier does a really good job taking away three-point shots, and they do a really good job guarding ball screens. So I think that's been pretty evident in the first half, and just not enough off-the-ball screening and moving, and kind of just relying too much on Kalkbrenner being open and available in the role, and Xavier's doing a great job taking it away. Defensively, I thought at first I was okay with with the defense. I thought they're just hitting some tough shots. We're dorking some guys out there that can't shoot, but then when you have a couple of those guys have burned us, and so it's one of those games where, I mean, like I've said it on the other day, it's a really tough place to play, and that crowd is fired up, and it's going to take a really strong effort in the second half to get back into this one.
Yeah, and Xavier has to have this win. If they have any dreams at all of playing in the NCAA tournament, this win is an absolute necessity. And there's even some doubt that they would make it in with this win. I am not of that volition, but I think there's a lot of people out there that do feel that way. Right now, Ryan Kalkbrenner with just 7 points. He's 3 of 9 from the field, to your point. They've done a really good job trying to keep him away from the rim and doing everything they can to kind of stifle him offensively. He has grabbed 7 boards through this first half, though, and that's kind of kept Creighton in it. They pulled within 10 at one point, and Xavier just has not gone away since then. They've done a really good job taking Stephen Ashworth out of the equation. He's only 1 of 7 from the field and 1 of 4 from beyond the arc with just 3 points in 19 minutes in that first half. You got to find a way to get Stephen open, I think, in my opinion, if you're Creighton going forward. But they got to get some help from other places. Jason Green was really effective early getting to the rim, and Xavier's done a really good job of kind of dictating what happens in the paint.
Well, I think you just nailed it. They're dictating how we're playing the game.
Yeah.
One of the things in this game, and it runs counterintuitive to what Mac wants to do, but in this game I would slow it down. And now it's probably too late. Now you probably have to run.
It's tough to slow it down when you're down 15.
100%. But as I was looking at some of the stuff preparing for this game, I was really interested to see if Mac would slow it down. Reason being, at home, you have to think Xavier, points per possession is probably better than Creighton at home offensively. So, you want to lower the amount of possessions in that style of game to give yourself a chance in terms of by the numbers and analytics. And now we typically do want to run. However, also you got to factor in when that game's moving and that game's fast, that crowd's getting into it, and it's harder and harder to play. The biggest thing for us, it's simple, in a sense, is we have to get stops so that if we're going to run, we can run. Kalkbrenner's done a good job in transition getting early deep post position. But in the half-court sets, he's not really able to get that deep post possession when he's getting up and setting ball screens. So what I'd like to see us do, if we're going to run, you got to get stops first. Kalk's got to be the first guy down the court. It's got to seal his man deep. We got to get him the ball. And, and the other side of it would be get to the free throw line. We could do that, score with a clock stop, give yourself a chance. But, again, if you don't get this crowd out of it quick, this one could get away from you in the second half.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough to slow it down 15. But I think one thing can change that. And if it's you can get Ryan Kalkbrenner going, you get him some lobs at the rim, you can let him kind of set the tone inside early and just kind of lean on Xavier. This team has been prone to let teams get back into games this season. It's kind of what's been their Achilles heel all season. And when you have an equalizer like Ryan Kalkbrenner, I think that is definitely a possibility. This is the Roll Jays podcast brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing, Pyramid Contractors, and Pepper Jack's Grill. We're going to take a quick break. Excuse me. We'll come back, give you our keys to the game here in the second half. It is the Roll Jays podcast.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at pyramidroof.com. Never settle for less.
This is why you need to try Pepper Jack's Grill, the best Philly cheesesteak in America. At Pepper Jack's Grill, we craft your Philly just the way you like it. Fresh ingredients, sizzling on the grill, and endless customization options. Not just Phillies, we've got rice bowls, burritos, nachos, and even vegetarian choices. And don't forget those crispy fries with our famous spicy ranch. With 10 great locations in Omaha, there's a delicious meal waiting for everyone in the family. Pepper Jack's Grill, your Philly, your way.
Welcome back into the Roll Jays podcast. Jimmie Allen and Casey Matthews with you here at halftime of Creighton trailing Xavier 27-42. We'll give you our keys to the game here in the second half. I said it. I think the key to the first part of the second half is setting the tone with Ryan Kalkbrenner early. That's not going to matter if you can't get your shooters going. We've seen Jackson McAndrew take 2 early three-pointers in this game. Steven Ashworth has tried to get going. He's got to find his shot for this one to get even remotely close and not let Xavier get hot and let that – you got to find a way to take that crowd out of it and slow it down. Casey, what say you?
Yeah, I think in this half, our defense has to lead to our offense. If we can't get stops and get out and run and try to get back and score before their defense can really set up, then it's going to be a long half. So we have to get stops, run. When we're in the half court, don't settle. They're going to be physical. You can't expect a Xavier team led by Sean Miller to come in and be soft. They're going to be physical. Don't look around for a ref to bail you out. Don't throw your hands up. Play hard. I'd look for some screening action away from the ball. Xavier's not great in guarding off-ball screens, so get some off-ball screens going, some one-more threes. If we're driving, drive to kick. Don't look to drive to score because Xavier's too good in the gaps. Drive to make a play for somebody else. But it has to start with defensive intensity. It's a very hard place to play, and you have to set your jaw and play harder than them if you want any chance to leave that building with a win.
Yeah, and right now Xavier's shooting 6 of 11 from beyond the arc too, and you've got to you've got to find a way to stay calm throughout the storm. Right, they're not going to shoot at that high of a tick in the second half. That number is eventually going to catch up to them. It may still be at a pretty high number. It's not going to be better than 50% for the entire second half of this game. Right. So I think you got to be patient. Believe in the drop coverage, believe in what you're trying to do, facilitate everything inside. If they're going to take highly contested shots like we've seen Ryan Conwell take all game today, be perfectly fine with that. I know he's got 10 points, and Dan Maddox is doing a great job as well, but you got to live with those guys taking those shots. They've hit some pretty miracle shots, specifically in the first part of the first half, and I really like the point you made about defense. You've got to be able to find a way to stick with what you've done, not get overwhelmed, because right now that crowd's going to be on top of you. It's going to be a hot crowd to start the second half. You got to make shots. You got to find a way to even if they're making shots, feel good about the way you leave the defensive possession, in my opinion. If Creighton is able to get back into this, obviously that's a different story for Xavier, and I think this really helps Creighton's momentum down the stretch, especially with the few games they got left on the schedule, not necessarily the most exciting games left to play. But I think this second half is really pivotal for the mentality heading into the Big East tournament.
Yeah, I think this is one where if I'm honest with you, like you always expect to win, but you knew this one's going to be an absolute war. I just think in this, you just don't want to get, and I hate saying, you just don't want to get blown out.
Yeah.
If you can make this game respectable, make it a close game, you can still leave with some confidence. But if this is another 12, 15-point advantage, that where Xavier outscores us in the second half, that's trouble. But at the end of the day, when you got Greg McDermott on the sideline, I just always feel like you got a shot.
Yeah. Seton Hall and Butler rounds out the Jays' schedule, and obviously that Butler game being at home for Ryan Kalkbrenner, Stephen Ashwood, Jemiah Neal's senior day. And after that, Creighton is off to the Big East tournament. If you are looking for somewhere to stay, there are still rooms available at the Team Hotel, which is the New Yorker right across the street from from Madison Square Garden. It is the New Yorker Hotel by Wyndham. They still do have open rooms available. And if you're looking to get out to the Big East tournament, make sure you stay at the New Yorker. Casey, Alex, and myself will be there as well. It is the Roll Jays podcast brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing, Pyramid Contractors, and Pepper Jack's Grill. If you want to donate to Creighton's NIL Collective, all you have to do, scan the QR code in your top right corner. All donations will benefit your favorite athletes at Creighton as well as benefit this podcast. Also, Casey and myself are back on 1620 The Zone immediately following the game, taking your phone calls. We'll be joined by Creighton assistant coach Jeff Vanderloo and a whole lot more. Hopefully you can join us. Thanks for listening. We'll see you after the game.